2020 has proven to be an eventful year so far, with the coronavirus putting the nail in the coffin of an 11-year bull run. So much has happened, and who better to speak on it than the silver guru himself, David Morgan, who will be joining us for today's episode on AGXM. But first, as always, if this is your first time joining us, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel, as well as check out agxpay.com to learn how the power of modern silver money can help you claim financial freedom. David, thank you for joining us and welcome back to the show.
Well, Nick, thank you for having me.
All right, David, let's jump right into it. The COVID-19 virus is the thing that the entire world is talking about. The outbreak has already thrown global markets into absolute chaos. Commodities took a hit, equities took a hit, cryptos took a hit. What do you make of the market's reaction?
Well, my reaction is that it's a bit of an overreaction, but, I don't want to look like a fool a month and a half from now. So it's hard to get a handle on just how much this virus really is going to curtail the normal, flow of goods and services. So what we do know is that it's interrupted a lot from China. The physical economy has taken a hit. The best we can hope for is like 1 quarter. It's probably going to be at least 2 or 3 quarters. And we really don't know the answer to that. I think that there's more of an overreaction emotionally than there might justify by what the physical economy is truly doing. But this is a perception. It's really hard to put a handle on, Nick. So yes, it exists. Yes, it's impacting the global economy. How hard and how long remains to be determined at this point.
I tend to agree with you, actually. We've been through several pandemics in the past decade, but for some reason people are treating this with borderline hysteria. Now, normally, during a financial crisis, we've looked at precious metals as safe haven assets, but now we're seeing the gold-silver ratio sitting around 100 to 1 at its lowest. What do you make of this, and what does it mean for the precious metals investor?
Well, believe it or not, what it means is every time we've seen 100 to 1 gold-silver ratio, it means a financial crisis. So I guess silver is doing its job, or the ratio is doing its job, because I'd say based on what's going on with coronavirus, we are in a financial, I'll put in quotation marks for now, crisis. And then gold's actually performing fairly well. I mean, the bottom in gold and silver, but primarily gold, was December 2015. I forget the number, but at that point, we hit the bottom for this secular bull market. And from that point through 2016, 17, 18, and 19, gold has performed fairly well. Now, it took until last year to get to the 6-year high. Got through the 1350 barrier finally. That was a 6-year mark. Got all the way up to 1550, and that was proved to be resistance. It traded around that level for a while. And recently, when this situation came to the fore, gold actually performed really well for a while. And now it's gotten hammered back and forth. Lots of reasons for that. We could go into them if you wish, but gold is, if gold came down through the 1550 level, and it hasn't, that'd give me concern. But to see it go all the way from 1550 to 1700 in the aftermarket a couple of days ago to now get sold off for a couple of days in a row really doesn't concern me. What concerns most people, and it certainly has raised my eyebrows, is silver. Silver is just totally trading like an industrial commodity or even a base metal. Mm-hmm. It's not trading like a monetary metal whatsoever at all. Yet, it will have that role in the future. So once gold becomes more and more a safe haven as things continue. I mean, let's just for a moment, and this is my take, but it's, my interview or our interview. Let's just say the coronavirus subsides and it ends in the end of this week. That is not going to stop the financial crisis. I mean, some of the people are more conspiracy oriented. They're, making a case, and it's somewhat valid, that the overreaction to this coronavirus is merely smoke and mirrors for the ongoing financial systemic problem that we have that's unraveling. And right. That will continue, in my strong, educated view, regardless of what happens to the virus. I'm not trying to say the virus isn't impactful or anything I've already stated. What I'm saying is that the financial unraveling, that's going to continue regardless of anything else.
Right, so basically this is just the catalyst that set everything off. It's the smoke and mirrors, as you eloquently put it, being used to justify what's going to happen moving forward. So now you mentioned earlier that silver has been trading as more of an industrial commodity rather than a safe haven. Do you see this becoming a long-term trend, or do you think people will snap back to treating it as a speculative asset once this all subsides?
Well, as Mark Twain famously said, history doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. Every time we've seen a 100-to-1 peak or ratio, it's been on a spike. So based on history and my thoughts, which I'll elaborate on, it's a spike. So that doesn't mean it goes from 100-to-1 to 60-to-1 in 2 days, but what it does mean is it isn't going to stay at 100-to-1 for very long. So once gold, gets more established as a safe haven, which it already is, but it's awfully volatile, you'll see more and more money move into gold, and that will push the price higher. And at some point, people will start thinking of silver as a safe haven and a monetary asset, or at least a precious metal. And you'll start to see that monetary aspect come into the consciousness of the investor. And since it's such a small market, it doesn't take a big psychological change for people to think, well, gold's too expensive, I should buy silver. Silver's undervalued relative to gold. Silver provides every single asset that gold does for a safe haven outside of the cost per volume. It's all things are relative, and I don't want to make that a scapegoat, but it's true that how bulky is it? Now, if you're going to put $50,000 in your pocket, you can do that with gold and get away with it. Silver, you can't. I admit that. But if you're going to put $5,000 into something the size of a laptop, silver's really, pretty darn valuable, even at $16 the ounce. So anyway, there you have it.
Thank you so much for joining us for our interview with David Morgan, the Silver Guru and founder of the Morgan Report. So glad that you guys could join us. And as always, if this is your first time, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel, as well as check out agxpay.com to learn how the power of modern silver money can help you claim financial freedom.